Coming up tonight on YCN News, no criminal charges will be filed against the driver of a car that hit a 14-year-old East Randolph, Vermont boy last month. A 27-year-old man in Hartford, Vermont is charged with trespassing, stalking, and voyeurism. And the West Claremont Center for Music and the Arts puts on a special musical performance at the local farmers market. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening, and welcome to this Friday edition of YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. There will be no criminal charges filed against the driver of the car that hit a 14-year-old East Randolph, Vermont boy last month, after a complete investigation by Vermont State Police of the August 28th accident. The agency determined no criminal charges are warranted against 17-year-old driver of the car, Katie Boulay. Pearline died on September 2, 2014 from severe head injuries sustained in the collision, report police. In its investigation of the collision, state police removed the computer data recorder in the 2005 Cadillac CTS that Boulay was driving. Data showed she was driving about 40 to 42 miles per hour at the time of the collision. The collision happened around 3:30 p.m. on Route 14 South in East Randolph, Vermont. The police investigation also revealed Zachary Pearline stepped out into traffic from behind a van that obstructed Boulay's view. This created a situation where she could not avoid Pearline. The auto's front end and hood were damaged. Boulay of Randolph Center was wearing a seatbelt at the time. There is an update in a shooting that happened a week ago on Laurel Street in Newport, New Hampshire. The investigation into its circumstances is ongoing, and updates will continue to be released as appropriate, Newport Police Chief James Burrows reports today. No arrests have been made. Details new today name the two people involved in the shooting, a shooting that ended with one man being airlifted to Dartmouth-Hitchcock Medical Center in Lebanon. On August 28th at 8:15 p.m., police received phone calls about a shooting at 146 Laurel Street in Newport. Brian and Veronica Valley live at that address. 47-year-old Brian Valley was one of the callers to police dispatch, and, says Burrows, Valley identified himself to police as the person who had just fired a single shot at an unwanted person at the Valley's home. Police identified the victim today as 27-year-old Jay Handy of White River Junction, Vermont. Handy remains at the hospital and is in fair condition, says Burrows. Handy sustained a single shot to a body's midsection by a 12-gauge shotgun utilizing birdshot. The Newport Police Department is conducting the investigation with the assistance of the State Police Major Crime Unit and the Sullivan County Attorney's Office. The Newport Police Department advises that there is no threat to public safety. For the first time in about 15 years, the New Hampshire State District 15 Senate seat is in need of a new leader. Former state senator and Democrat Sylvia Larson retired from the seat she held since 1994. Now, two other Democrats seek to replace her, as does one Republican. Last night at New England College in Henniker, it was Democrats Cass Ardinger and Dan Feltz' turn to explain why they are the best person for the job.
I think at this point we'll move on to Clay Wirestone with his question for Cass.
Okay. You've already brought up the name of Sylvia Larson, who you're both trying to replace in the state senate, and so you're both essentially running as novices to replace a party leader. Assuming that one of you is elected in this primary and then goes on to be actually elected to the state senate, how do you make your mark effectively in a small state body like that when you're new and somewhat untested and coming into a group of folks who've been there in some cases for decades?
Well, the best advice I ever received was when I was a new person on the school board, and that was come in without an agenda, work hard, listen, be ready to roll up your sleeves and work with everybody else. And that's exactly what I would intend to do in the state Senate. I think that it's vitally important to understand the budget and the way that works. I think that is the key to being an effective legislator. So I would spend quite a bit of time learning the budget and understanding the ins and outs and how it all works together before I necessarily propose legislation. I want to be sure that I have the basics under my belt first.
Well, this is a difference in this election because I'm going with an agenda. It's a progressive agenda to help working families. It's a progressive agenda to advance energy efficiency and renewable energy. And for the last 8 years, I've worked with Democrats and Republicans in the state Senate in a constructive way, drafting legislation, drafting amendments, working in committees, working on the budget. So I have that experience. So I'm going to hit the ground running. I'm going to put the proposals out there. I'm going to negotiate, and we're going to move the ball forward. That's what I'll do in the state Senate.
Voters of District 15 live in Concord, Warner, Henniker, and Hopkinton. The outcome of the state Democratic primary next Tuesday will determine whether Ardinger or Feltz will run against Republican Lydia Dubé-Harmon in the November 4th general election. The winner of that race claims the seat. In an ongoing court case in New Hampshire, defendant James Robarge, through his attorney, is asking a judge to exclude evidence gathered by police before Robarge was charged and arrested. Robarge is accused by police of allegedly murdering his estranged wife Kelly in July 2013. Kelly Robarge went missing from her Charlestown home on the day she filed for divorce from James, July 27, 2013. Robarge and his defense attorney were in Sullivan County Superior Court yesterday, the Eagle Times reports, for a court hearing to restrict some evidence collected before his arrest. Defense attorney Alex Parsons told Judge Brian Tucker that James Robarge was detained by police for about 18 hours last July, despite the filing of any charges against Robarge. Police gathered evidence at the Charlestown home and observed blood stains on the clothes James was wearing when police located him for questioning. Meanwhile, police investigated Kelly's disappearance, hoping to find her alive. Her remains were found in Unity about 10 days later. In court yesterday, Parsons asked Judge Tucker to dismiss as evidence the bloodied clothes police took from James Robarge as police investigated the case. Tucker took the request under advisement, the Eagle reports. No ruling was issued yesterday. Instead, another hearing in November may determine Parsons' request. A police matter in Hartford, Vermont involves a 27-year-old man being charged with trespassing, stalking, and voyeurism. Rowan Michael of Woodhaven Drive allegedly entered the home of a 30-year-old woman without permission. Police were called to a home on Juniper Drive early today for a reported burglary. The call came in around 12:33 a.m. The victim told police she was in bed with her boyfriend when the couple observed the defendant inside the residence standing at the end of the bed and watching them. Rowan left, and police found him later at his own home. He was arrested and charged with the 3 crimes. He was being held at the Southern State Correctional Facility in Springfield, Vermont, in lieu of $1,000 cash or surety bond. When YCN News returns, we'll take a look at a special musical performance from the Claremont Farmers Market, and we'll hear about the Kearsarge Regional School District's early budget planning.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Every Thursday from late May through early October, local vendors gather in Claremont's downtown Broad Street Park for the city's farmers market. Artisans and customers enjoy music at every event, but the first Thursday of every month features special guests with the West Claremont Center for Music and the Arts. Last night, I decided to stop by and check out a unique Japanese-style drumming performance by Burlington Taiko. I'm here with Melissa Richmond from the West Claremont Center for Music and the Arts at the Claremont Farmers Market, where there's going to be a presentation by Burlington Taiko. So can you tell me what's special about today's event?
Well, this week we're actually going to be doing a performance that we do every year annually. This is our third year, but it's a little bit different this year because of Claremont's 250th. So we're going to do the taiko at the farmers market like we have done in the past, and then we're going to follow up with more programs later on. And we have today we will have Burlington Taiko's Stuart Payton, who's the founding director, to perform for us and to lead some workshops with anybody who'd like to participate.
How did you decide to choose Burlington Taiko for the Claremont Farmers Market event?
We saw them perform at a program that they do in Windsor called the One Drum Festival, and they did a great program that is very similar to what we're doing at the farmers market, and we thought that Claremont would really love that chance to get their hands on some drums. So we went and asked the New England Foundation for the Arts for a grant for the program, and they've awarded us one every year, so their support allows us to present this program each year.
So I know they're coming back then for the 250th. Can you tell me more about that?
Absolutely. We'll be doing a residency program in about 2 weeks, and most of it will be held at the community center. And anybody who would like to participate may sign up. They can go to wcc-ma.org, and you'll find more information about that this weekend. And they'll be able to come, they'll learn a piece, and then there will be a performance at the Birthday in the Bricks on September 20th. And anybody who participates and learns the piece is welcome to come and perform at the beginning of that event.
So tell me, what is taiko?
Taiko is Japanese drumming. It's an ancient art. It was part of, farming life, religious life, and military life in Japan.
What do you enjoy most about taiko?
I love the combining of voice and movement and drumming in a community art form.
What do you think audiences or students that are learning taiko can get out of it?
Joining voice and the body. The drumming is very athletic and very visual. It's a really fun thing to do. It feels really good. We have taiko classes in Montpelier. It's a little far, but not too far from here. Burlington Taiko has made all its own drums. We bring these drums to schools to add to the education of children. And please invite us to a community or school event.
If you're interested in learning more about Burlington Taiko and their music, you can visit their webpage at burlingtontaiko.org. The West Claremont Center for Music and the Arts will have more information on the residency program for those interested in participating in Claremont's 250th birthday recital. So be sure to check out their website for updates on the program. Students, for the most part, are back in class, and along with that, one district is already working on its 2015-16 school budget. The Kearsarge Regional School District Board and the Municipal Budget Committee met yesterday night in New London to plan school spending for next year. This begins the budget cycle that will conclude with a deliberative session in January and a vote in March. Citizens are welcome, and the meeting schedule can be found at the KRSD website. The website is kearsarge.org. On an artistic note, this Sunday in Windsor, Vermont, at Arabella Gallery, a program demonstrating pastel use is scheduled. In the field or in the studio, pastels are a portable art medium. On September 7th from noon to 4 p.m., a program demonstrating pastel use will be given. This is in conjunction with a month-long exhibit featuring artwork by the Vermont Pastel Society. You may want to consider attending to learn more about how pastels are used and a bit on their history, and to support a local business. Arabella Gallery is located at 65 Main Street. For more information, call 802-674-5111. YCN News on Monday night will feature a special broadcast highlighting the candidates running for office in the September 9th New Hampshire primary. From the Sullivan County High Sheriff's race to the District 2 Congressional Challenge and U.S. Senate and more. Please tune in Monday night. When we return, we'll have your weather for the next few days and a look at sports with Matt McDonald.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Now, Matt McDonald will have a look at our weather for the next few days and then move on to sports.
Thanks, Rose. Tonight we'll have patchy fog after 3 a.m. with partly cloudy skies. Lows will be in the 60s and winds will be around 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow morning will be foggy before 8 a.m. Then we have a 70% chance of precipitation with showers expected to begin at 9 a.m. and thunderstorms possible after 11 a.m. Skies will be partly sunny and highs will be around 81 degrees with winds up to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow night we'll have a 30% chance of rain with possible storms before 7 p.m. Skies will be mostly cloudy with lows around 55 degrees. Sunday will be sunny with highs in the mid-70s and winds up to 5 miles per hour. Sunday night will have clear skies with a low of 50 degrees. You can see that storms are approaching us and will hit us just in time for Saturday. Sunday should be a sunny day once the storms pass. Now let's see what's coming up on our community calendar. Tomorrow morning, the Cornish, New Hampshire and Norwich, Vermont's farmers markets will be held at 9 a.m. In Woodstock, Vermont, the farmers market will begin at 9:30 a.m. and the Enfield, New Hampshire farmers market will begin at 10. Remember, you can submit local events from your community by sending them to news@ycnnow.com. And now let's take a look at the various high school golf matches that took place yesterday. Newport participated in 2 matches. First, they faced Littleton and won with 161 strokes. Littleton had 206 strokes. In the second match, Newport conquered Moultonborough 161 to 197. Stevens and Kearsarge had a match. Kearsarge had the fewest strokes with 170. Stevens had 199. Hanover High School also played in 2 matches yesterday. One was against Bishop Brady and the other was with Kennet. In the Bishop Brady match, Hanover won with 209 strokes against Bishop Brady's 233. Hanover defeated Kennet 209 strokes to 248 strokes by Kennet.
Thanks, Matt. When YCN News continues, we'll join Lisa Connell and John O'Connor for this week's News and Review.
The YCN News continues in a moment.